Welcome to Nebula 404, where we introduce listeners to the world of technology. We'll be discussing the challenges for workforce development and capacity building, the necessary changes in education in order to support the skills needed in the workforce today, and introduce listeners to the exciting opportunities for careers in tech. Welcome. Today's guest with us is Ray Sweats from Jovia Financial Credit Union. And Ray is the AVP of Business Banking. So we're excited to have Ray with us today. Ray has been an incredible partner with us from We Connect the Dots and supporting our organization. So I couldn't be more excited to have him on the show with us. And really just to thank him for all of the contributions and support and enabling us to really impact so many kids over the past year. So thank you, Ray.
Oh, my pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about what you do. And I guess, your roles change and you continue to change roles,
Sure.
right? So tell us a little bit about Jovia Financial and maybe what you guys are doing today and with your organization.
Sure, absolutely. So Jovia Financial Credit Union is a nonprofit banking organization. We're a credit union, so basically we're a member-owned cooperative. And what I love about that is in banking, typically in commercial banking, it's that you are bringing in business and you're working for clients and you're generating fees from that work with clients and paying that to shareholders. But with a credit union, we're in business for the members. So you're a part owner of the cooperative. So we're in business to serve you. And everything that we make in terms of our loans and our deposit rates and so forth, all of that is paid back to the membership in the better rates for their loans or better services. It's not paid off to someone else. We had been serving the Long Island community, specifically hyper-focused on Nassau County, educators on Long Island. And that's how I came to know NEFCU at the time. We were formerly known as NEFCU.
So tell me a little bit about that brand change.
Sure. So for 80 years, we served educators in that capacity. As we became a community chartered credit union a few years ago, we found that the NEFCU name, it was difficult to bring that out, into the community, and to get. It was difficult to bring that out into the community and to get people to understand who we were and what we did. You had to kind of educate people as to what a credit union was. Then you had to educate people as to what NEFCU stands for. And although certainly we were honored to focus and work with educators, and we certainly don't forget where we came from there, but bringing that out into the community, we wanted branding that reflected innovation and community. And the word Jovia stems from the word joy. And we're looking to delight our members.
And bring joy to the community.
Bring joy to the community, exactly. And if we had stayed as NEFCU, certainly, there were some educators that we would have made very happy if we stayed with the name NEFCU because there is a sense of ownership there. And we certainly want to continue that and embrace that. At the same time, we want to expand on that and offer those benefits to the community at large. And by growing the organization, it benefits our core membership as well because it means we can continue to offer those great rates on deposits, great rates on loans, and a great service, and look towards innovating and providing things like the ITMs that we provide and other services that are more forward thinking.
Yeah, so we, as a partner, as an organization, when we look for organizations to outreach to support us, we want to make sure that whoever we're partnering with really has a synergistic with us, right? They understand who we are and what we're trying to accomplish, and that's why obviously the Microsofts out there. So when we work with Microsoft, we always love having them as a sponsor and supporter because Microsoft really helps us. We're synergistic in our missions, right? Their mission statement is like empowering everybody with this technology skills or something aligned to that, right? And so that's really what our mission is too, is to really empower those who need it most with these skills and empowering people to be their best. So those synergistic qualities of Microsoft align with us and other organizations, industry organizations that we work with. But with Jovia, it was really about who can we align with locally from a local partnership in Long Island that really understands who we are and our mission and supports that initiative and wants to help grow that and wants to really be out there innovatively in the technology field and really kind of helping educators, which is what we do, right? We really help teachers understand how to use technology better in education. And so I really felt like when we started talking about, having you become a sponsor, it was really about the synergistics that we had together. So, and it's been a great partnership. Hopefully you feel the same way. And that we've really brought value back to Jovia through this partnership and through working together. And organizations like ours, not-for-profits, we can't sustain without partners like you, without partners like Microsoft and others. So it's really important that we build these relationships that are not just about, hey, give us money and then we'll say goodbye to you. It's about you're going to support us and we're going to continue to keep engaging with you. And we honestly, we are on calls with you once a week just to kind of check in, see how things are going. What else could we be doing together? What else could we be doing out in the community to impact teachers and educators and students? So thank you for that support and for being a really valuable partner with us.
Yeah, well, we're pleased to do it. I mean, we serve, as you mentioned, we serve the same community. And Jovia, we're also looking for organizations that, will help further the community. And the work that We Connect the Dots does in particular, I always say when I'm introducing We Connect the Dots to people who may not be aware of you, I always say they level set the education in IT. They make these programs available, coding, the Creating STEAM program, the Codathon. They make programs like this available to everyone, nationwide and certainly within our community, whether you're a student in the Hempstead School District or a student in the Jericho School District. You have access to this amazing program that teaches you 21st century workforce development skills. And to me, that's amazing, and that contributes to our local economy. That contributes to the community. It honors the educators that we've served for 80 years, and it brings that out into the community in an even more impactful way. And it keeps all those skills here.
Yeah, and that's what, we really want to help businesses thrive and grow here in Long Island, and we want students to be able to afford to live here, right?
Yes.
To be able to build sustainable careers. And reality is, getting a career in tech is a sustainable career path, right? It's going to always, statistically, you're less likely to get laid off or lose your job in tech versus other career opportunities that you might pursue. So thank you. So Ray, why is it important to introduce technology skills? And I say not just technology, because we can introduce technology to kids, they love technology, but technology skills that will translate into transferable skills in the workforce. Why is it important that we do that and we make those investments? Why does Jovia care about that? And I know we care about it and we have our reasons, but why does Jovia care about that?
Well, we care about it because technology touches every aspect of our lives. Certainly we learned that over the pandemic. And the fact of the matter is, for kids and young adults to have opportunities in the workplace, they need to have exposure to these, to these concepts, and beyond, the gaming or the Roblox or whatever I'm sure that one's
the latest
behind
game
the
that
time,
kids
the
are
latest
playing
one.
today.
Although those certainly are skill building activities and worthwhile, we need to ensure that the young adults and that the children, the students, have access to something that trains them beyond that, builds on that, and helps them develop an interest and unlocks their potential as they look towards a career. So it's extremely important to us to develop that. And that develops, again, it goes back to the local economy. We'd love to train people and keep people here, on Long Island, keep that skill set here.
Yeah, so we know statistically through some research from code.org that less than 50% of high schools nationally teach computer science. And I do need to get that statistic for Long Island because I'm very curious. I think we may have the data. I've got to go look to see what that is. But we're working very hard to change the dynamics of that in Long Island for educators, right? By offering educators opportunities to come and volunteer and learn during our programs. Because they can literally, if teachers volunteers for our programs, they can literally take the curriculum and go teach it in their classroom. And so now they've got experience with how it's been taught and seeing it firsthand as a volunteer. And then also, from a Nebula Academy perspective, we also work with schools. So We Connect the Dots obviously offers volunteer opportunities for educators, but on the Nebula Academy side, we're a CTLE provider. So we help educators learn how to teach computer science. And we want more teachers teaching computer science. And so the more teachers that are teaching computer science, the more students are going to be more apt to go into these careers and build sustainable careers here on Long Island. So it's a domino effect that we need to make happen.
Absolutely, and that's another reason that Jovia is very excited about partnering with We Connect the Dots, is because it does touch upon those things which are very important to us. Education. It also it touches upon community, and it touches upon breaking that cycle of poverty, because if you want to talk about breaking the cycle of poverty, so you have people who have access to this training that they might not otherwise have. The pandemic has definitely identified that there's some gaps.
Yeah. Well, it almost escalated the need, and people saw firsthand who was being impacted, right? Not just those who have, but those who already didn't have, right? Now it's just made it worse.
Exactly, and I say this with knowing that as we entered the pandemic, I am so grateful and so impressed by the quality of education that we have on Long Island, and the fact that the teachers, like I know for my kids, the teachers were extremely determined to make sure that they didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And they made that transition very skillfully. They were very agile in doing that.
They had to pivot quickly.
They pivoted very quickly. That word, I'm so tired of that word, but
it's true.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But as you say, it did identify there are a lot of gaps, because it's not all equal in terms of the home learning environment, in terms of the quality Wi-Fi, or in terms of the equipment that they might have access to. So this is something I think we've identified, and that's something that I think we need to work on.
Yeah, and what I'm excited for about the fact that COVID has kind of enlightened us with all of this is that there's been a lot of pushback from schools on teaching these skill sets, and reality is we need to, and this brought seriousness to it. And so I think that I'm excited to see where the future takes us in education now, and how we're going to keep building that capacity in our educators, so that if we ever, for a reason, have to, and think about too, is a lot of times students may need to be learning from remote for some power outage reasons in the schools, or something happens at the school that they can still learn, but learn remotely. And I think also what we've got to focus on is teaching this concept of lifelong learning to our students, especially this generation, right? We've seen that in this prior generation who's already in the workforce, right? The need for lifelong learning, and the need for learning how to learn, right? Because it's one thing to learn and consume and get information in, but if you're not learning how to learn, you can't then learn on your own, right? And we need kids to do that, right? We need adults to do that. So, if we teach at a younger age, when they become adults, they'll already be lifelong learners. They'll already know, I can pick up a technology tomorrow and I can learn it on my own. I can do this on my own. Or I can do part of it and then get some support from other resources to help me, right? That's really where we need to take our society in general, is to be able to create the importance of lifelong learning. And I think again, COVID is in a good way. We learn from bad things, right?
Yes.
And I always tell our students that failure is a good thing, because you learn from it, right? We don't learn from the successes. And if you talk to any CEO, they'll tell you that. We don't learn from successes, we learn from failures. And we need to learn from the failures of COVID. And then learn from the failures in education, and how we're going to address those needs. And so, awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about the gaps in education today that you see from your organization. I know we've worked with folks at your organization, your CIO and your HR team, to kind of help look at how can we bring some of our graduates from our boot camps into Jovia.
Yes.
For workforce experience and possible apprenticeships. And I'm excited about that continue. So we're evolving the partnership, right? We're going from sponsoring and supporting We Connect the Dots and the students programs to now, okay, well, you know what, can you guys, think about our graduates and potentially hiring our graduates? And we want more Long Island companies to have that mindset. that we have graduates. They need opportunities to learn, and they need apprenticeships to do that. We can offer them apprenticeships, but we can't offer everybody an apprenticeship. So we need companies like Jovia and others to take on that, to take the reign on that. Because if we want them to build sustainable careers on Long Island, we've got to be, as business owners and leaders in the communities, we've got to be able to make investments in that, or we're not going to overcome these challenges, right? So we've had incredible partnerships with Suffolk County government, with Nassau County government, and I'm super proud of the work we're doing, and I look forward to having them on our show at some point in the future to talk about what the work we're doing. But from a business perspective in Jovia, this is just so important. So can you share with me some of the challenges that you're seeing with building staffing and helping? Because Jovia is innovative. They want to, you want it as an organization to be able to offer more services, more digital type services, and that requires developers,
Absolutely.
people with skills in tech, right?
Absolutely, and that's something very important. And before I even touch upon that, what I also want to say is you touched upon the true partnership. So one of the things that I think is wonderful about our partnership is that it goes beyond a sponsorship. It is truly a mutually beneficial partnership because I work for a nonprofit organization as well, a nonprofit banking organization, and I have a board of directors that I have to answer to say, well, why is it that we're investing and we connect the dots? And for me, that's an easy sell, because what we're doing is we're investing in the future. We're investing in the 21st development, the 21st century workforce. That's what we're investing in. And those are the people who, it's a mutually beneficial thing. As we're investing in them and creating jobs that benefits the local economy, stimulates the local economy, and those are the people who are banking with us. So it makes absolute sense, and it does honor the work of the educators that had formed us many years ago in a small basement in Valley Stream, sharing money together.
That's kind of cool.
We've certainly, yes, to have started that way and now to become, a larger $3 billion credit union, we will never lose sight of how we got started, and it was by focusing on the education and why. So I want to say that first, in that it's very important that when a for-profit agency or a nonprofit agency looks to partner with another, that it is something that's mutually beneficial. It makes sense that our missions certainly are aligned.
Yeah.
And now to go back to your questions in terms of the workforce. So another reason this was an easy sell is because, look, at the end of the day, finding quality people who are going to stay on Long Island and who have the training we need, you're preparing them not only with the programs to show them coding or to show them other IT work, you're also preparing them for, well, how does an internship work? What kind of questions do you prepare for the interviews, or and how to help them prepare for meeting with an organization that's looking to hire. And then in turn, you're also working with us to say, all right, well, what are some of the things that they need to be trained on so that we can help them to be prepared that when they start, of course, they're going to be trained internally, but they're already ahead of the game.
Yeah, we've hopefully taken some burden off of you and given you value back, right? By having the resources ready for you. Yeah.
And that's huge. And I can't think of another organization that is focused on providing that kind of partnership. So kudos to you for doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm going to say this to the audience again. We need more businesses like Jovia to do this with us, to really be a true partnership to help us build your capacity and through our graduates and our resources that we're training, and also our volunteers who come in and work with us. It's amazing. Our volunteers, like you were a volunteer for us this year too. So I want to talk about volunteers for a bit, because one of the things that we really do is, and I'm super proud of this, is that, and it kind of happened just organically. We started doing these volunteer opportunities, and the first one we took on was redoing our website and doing Salesforce. We wanted to bring on Salesforce as a not-for-profit. For those not-for-profit organizations listening, you get a lot of tech value from the industry if you're not aware of that. And if you don't know about this stuff, please reach out to us. We'll share this information with you and help you get set up with our graduates. So we leverage the Microsoft Office 365 for all of our technology, and all our programs are run on Microsoft Teams. And then then we also leverage Salesforce. So Salesforce donates licenses to us as an organization to do our CRM system. So this year, or actually last year, we took on the project to build out our Salesforce environment. And when we did, we basically put a posting out there. We leveraged Volunteer Match to get our volunteers, and we put a posting out there to get volunteers. And it was amazing. In one day, we had 50 volunteers reach out, and they were reaching out. What we really, the insight that we gained from it was that they were reaching out because, and this was globally, like we had people globally, locally too, New York, nationally, everywhere. They were coming from everywhere. And what we saw was that there was people out there who have trained themselves, but they have no applicable skills. I mean, they can't speak to an opportunity that they did the work. They can only speak to, oh, I learned it. I went out on my own and I did that. But I don't really have any application of what I did. And so what they did is they came to us and said, can we do this and learn from it? And I was like, absolutely. We're a training and education organization. We would love for you to be a part of this and volunteer your time, and then we can give you back huge value because you learn. And so what we've learned over the years by doing this kind of volunteer work is that our volunteers, they'll come out to me and they'll say, hey, I just got a great new job, and thank you for all the stuff I learned from you guys because that helped me get the job. And so we hear that a lot. And so that's exciting for us. So when we introduce people like our partners who sponsor us to come in and volunteer, we always it's always curious to hear because sometimes it's hard to tell people what we do. Sometimes it's very complicated what we do and with our students and our projects, and so not everybody gets what we do. And so that's why one of the reasons why we partner with you, because you do get what we do. But tell me a little bit about your first opportunity with volunteering with us.
Oh yeah, so. And for me, that was eye-opening in the best possible way, because in having the conversation with you and your team, who are amazing at communicating something that could be perceived as very complicated, but seeing firsthand the engagement, the interaction, the diversity of the teams, how they utilize the technology to work together towards a common goal, and to see that goal is not just a pie-in-the-sky educational goal, it is a real world global problem that they're solving. So and doing this in a condensed period of time with the challenges of the pandemic over the last year, to me that was extremely inspiring and like I said, eye-opening in the best way. One of the things that really sticks with me still is initially on the Creating STEAM program last year for the summer, judging that program and seeing a team of people who, they coordinated, there was obvious leadership, but total inclusion in terms of making sure each person on the team, each member of the team had a chance to talk about what it was that they did, how they contributed, and how that gelled together. There was the real world problem that they were solving, the global issue was finding clean, healthy water for an underprivileged country. And the fact that there are children out there who they'll walk miles with a bucket on their head to try to find water.
But you learned that from the students.
And I learned that from the students.
Yeah.
I learned the problem from the students. I mean, yes, you're peripherally aware. You see commercials on TV or you read about it in magazines or online, but seeing it firsthand explained to me by the students in this program, ages 13 to 18, middle school kids talking about this problem in an intelligent and eloquent way, presenting that problem and then presenting a technology-based solution that incorporates, web services, drones, to see how that works and how they were able to show someone in an underprivileged village how to locate clean, healthy water and how to get it without there being that, you're walking around for miles looking for it. That was astounding to me. Truly inspirational. It really gives me hope for the leaders of the future.
Absolutely, it does to me too. Every time I watch the students and I see what they produce, I go, we are going to have an amazing future. Because these kids are, when you bring kids together like that and you teach them all these concepts and you say, okay, here's all the tools you've got. So now go figure out what problem you want to solve. And we do a lot of team building activities to get them really understanding what each kid values. So that's why when you see the results as a judge, what you're seeing is the culmination of all that training and learning over the 2-week period for the Creating STEAM summer program, where they're really learning how to work together.
Yes.
and what they care about. And so that when we use the UN, for the educators out there listening, we use the UN Sustainable Development Goals, where if you Google search UN SDGs, you'll find it. It's a great way to give boundaries to kids, to give them some kind of format to say, and without constraining them, because we know in the teaching world, in neuroscience and how we blend our learning, that if we say to a student, hey, here's 4 problems, go pick one. They'll go, I don't like those problems. I want to pick something else. So what we do is we don't tell them what problem to solve. We just say, here's the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Here's the issues globally. What problem do you want to solve? And then they have to kind of figure out and work together and understand through these team building activities which problem is most important. Because we do know, and this is research for businesses know that if you have a team of people working together collaboratively and they all care about what they're doing, they'll be successful no matter what it is. And so that's really what we're showing these students, is that you can do this and you can imagine anything conceptually that you think might need to be solved. And so we're getting them to think globally, act locally, right? And so that's really the premise of all of this method to our madness in our teaching. And so I'm thrilled that you had the opportunity to experience that firsthand. And again, we really would love more organizations like Jovia to come in and be part of that volunteer experience, to see how our organization works. So there's an opportunity for you this summer if you're interested in volunteering. Judging is on July 30th, and so we'd love it if those listening might want to sign up for that. Put that plug in there. So Ray, thank you again for joining us. Any last words that you have for the listeners?
Well, I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity. As somebody who lives, works, and worships in Long Island, I certainly understand the impact of the programs that you bring that keep our talent here in Long Island and that really further education on Long Island. And we want to thank you. I know Jovia also supports it for these same reasons. So thank you very much for the partnership.
Thank you. We value it greatly. So Ray, thanks again for joining us today. It was again, and thank you for the continued partnership with working with We Connect the Dots and Nebula Academy. We love the relationship, and we hope it lasts forever. So thank you folks for listening. Please come back next week and join us again as we continue to share the wonderful opportunities in technology for those listeners. And please go to our website, nebulaacademy.com, and learn more about us. And then if you feel value in this show and you want to help support us to do more, make a donation to WeConnectTheDots.org. That will help us to provide scholarships for adults and young adults to really have an opportunity to explore innovative learning experience. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you soon.